The morning sun had barely risen over the bustling skyline of Miami when Rebecca Carter's alarm buzzed at 6:30 a.m. Though her court appearance wasn't until 9 a.m., years of working as a federal prosecutor had taught her the importance of preparation. Her cozy yet stylish apartment in downtown Miami mirrored her meticulous nature, with case files neatly organized on her desk and her court outfit ready to go. Today, however, Rebecca wasn't heading to the federal courthouse where she commanded respect as an assistant U.S. attorney. She was handling a personal matter at municipal court, disputing a parking ticket she believed had been unfairly issued. Rebecca opted for a more casual look than her usual courtroom attire, pairing a crisp navy blazer with a white blouse and black pants. Standing before her bathroom mirror, she carefully styled her natural curls, a source of pride after years of straightening them. At 35, her face bore the confidence and determination that had propelled her to graduate at the top of her class from Georgetown Law and secure a prestigious role in the U.S. Attorney's Office. "This is just a quick court appearance," she reminded herself, grabbing a granola bar and her travel mug filled with coffee. Her sleek Tesla, a gift to herself after winning a major corruption case, awaited in the parking garage. She loved the car but was used to the surprised looks she got when stepping out of such a luxury vehicle. As the morning traffic in Miami crawled along, Rebecca tuned into NPR, mentally reviewing her documentation for the disputed parking ticket. She had taken photos of the contradictory parking signs and felt confident in her case. At 8:15 a.m., her car's Bluetooth chimed with an incoming call. The display showed it was her boss, the U.S. Attorney himself. "Rebecca, I apologize for the early call," came the familiar voice. "We've got an urgent issue with the Langston trafficking case. The defense just filed a motion that could derail the prosecution. I need your analysis ASAP." Rebecca's grip on the steering wheel tightened. The Langston case was one of the largest human trafficking prosecutions in Florida's history. "Of course, sir. What's the timeline?" "The judge has given us until noon to respond. I've sent the documents to your email. Can you review them and call me with your thoughts?" "Absolutely," Rebecca replied, though her mind was already racing. She had planned to park by 8:30 a.m., but now needed to find somewhere to pull over and review the urgent documents. Spotting a small cafe, Rebecca parked, connected her laptop to her phone's hotspot, and dove into the dense legal arguments. Time slipped away as she meticulously analyzed each point. When she finally glanced at her watch, panic set in. It was 8:50 a.m., and court was still 10 minutes away. She quickly called her boss to relay her preliminary thoughts, promising a detailed follow-up after court. Arriving at the municipal court parking lot at 9:10 a.m., Rebecca hurriedly grabbed her documents and rushed inside, unaware that her slight delay was about to spark events that would shake the foundation of her belief in the justice system. Judge Richard Stone's courtroom was known for its rigid rules and cold efficiency. At 62, with graying hair and wire-rimmed glasses, he exuded an air of authority forged over 3 decades on the bench. This Monday morning, he presided from his elevated seat, his black robe impeccably pressed, as he prepared for the day's docket of minor violations. "All rise," the bailiff called at 9 a.m. sharp. Judge Stone entered, beginning proceedings with practiced precision. He valued punctuality and regarded tardiness as a sign of disrespect for the law. By 9:15, the courtroom door creaked open, drawing his attention mid-sentence. Rebecca Carter stepped inside, attempting to be unobtrusive. Judge Stone's eyes narrowed. "Step forward," he commanded, interrupting the current case. Rebecca approached the podium, maintaining a calm, professional demeanor. "You must be Rebecca Carter, scheduled for 9 a.m., Judge Stone said, emphasizing the time with a disapproving glare. "Do you think your time is more valuable than the court's, Ms. Carter?" Before she could explain, he continued, his voice growing harsher. "This is a court of law, not some casual gathering where you can stroll in as you please." Rebecca stood her ground, hands folded, her composure unwavering despite the hostile reception. She noticed how Judge Stone hadn't even glanced at her documents. His assumptions about her were evident in his tone and demeanor. The bailiff, an older black man named Marcus Williams, observed the exchange, his face betraying a mix of frustration and resignation. He had seen this pattern before. "Your Honor, if I may," Rebecca began, her voice steady. "You may not," Judge Stone interrupted. "I've heard every excuse: traffic, car trouble, personal emergencies. None of it matters here." The courtroom grew tense. Observers exchanged uneasy glances, especially when it became clear that Rebecca's tardiness was being treated more harshly than that of others. A young white man who had arrived late earlier received nothing more than a passing comment. Judge Stone's voice boomed as he announced, "This court finds you in contempt and imposes a $500 fine. Let this serve as a lesson about respect for the judicial process." Rebecca's expression didn't waver, though her mind catalogued every detail of the encounter. She had faced prejudice before, but this was blatant. The courtroom fell silent, the tension palpable as everyone waited to see what she would do next. Rebecca knew that this moment was about more than her. It was about exposing the inequalities ingrained in the system she had dedicated her career to upholding. Rebecca took a deep breath, her eyes locking on Judge Stone's face. She spoke with deliberate calmness, her voice unwavering. "Your Honor, while I respect this court and its processes, I must object to the characterization of my actions. My delay was due to an urgent matter related to a federal human trafficking case, a case that directly impacts the lives of vulnerable individuals. I came prepared with my evidence and ready to proceed, despite the unexpected circumstances." The courtroom grew even quieter as Rebecca's words hung in the air. Judge Stone's face reddened, though whether from anger or embarrassment was unclear. He was not accustomed to being addressed so directly. "This is not the place to discuss your federal cases, Ms. Carter," he snapped, but there was a slight quiver in his tone. "You are here for a parking violation, not to give excuses." Rebecca's professional demeanor remained intact. "Your Honor, I understand. However, I would like to formally request that the fine be reconsidered in light of my circumstances and my record as a public servant." The judge opened his mouth to respond, but before he could, Marcus Williams, the bailiff, stepped forward. "Your Honor," Marcus said cautiously, his voice steady but respectful. "If I may, Ms. Carter has been a regular presence in this courthouse. I've seen her conduct herself with nothing but professionalism and respect for the law." Judge Stone shot Marcus a sharp look, but the bailiff didn't back down. Rebecca turned slightly to acknowledge Marcus with a grateful nod, then looked back at the judge. "I have the documentation for my case, Your Honor. If you'll allow me to proceed, I can present my argument for the parking dispute and address any questions." Judge Stone hesitated. The murmurs in the gallery grew louder. The courtroom clerk, Mrs. Alvarez, glanced nervously between Rebecca and the judge. Finally, Judge Stone waved a hand dismissively. "Fine. Proceed." Rebecca placed her evidence on the podium with precision, her confidence unshaken. She explained how the contradictory signage at the parking spot led to the ticket being wrongly issued, backing her claims with clear photographs and municipal code citations. Her presentation was efficient, logical, and irrefutable. When she finished, Judge Stone sat back in his chair, clearly uncomfortable. He glanced at the photographs, the citations, and the timestamps. He couldn't ignore the airtight nature of Rebecca's argument. "The court finds that the ticket was issued in error," he said begrudgingly, tapping his gavel. "The fine is dismissed." Rebecca nodded, her face neutral, though inwardly she felt vindicated. As she turned to leave, Judge Stone added, "Let this be a reminder that punctuality is still expected in this courtroom." Rebecca paused for a fraction of a second but didn't look back. The courtroom's energy had shifted. Several people nodded at her as she walked out, including Marcus, whose eyes held a glint of quiet pride. Outside the courthouse, Rebecca exhaled deeply, the crisp Miami morning air filling her lungs. She wasn't naive. She knew the fight for justice didn't always happen in grand jury trials or headline-grabbing cases. Sometimes, it was in the quiet resistance against microaggressions and systemic prejudice, moments that could ripple outward in ways she might never fully see. Her phone buzzed. It was a text from her boss. "Excellent work on the Langston case notes. Judge just denied the motion. You saved us." Rebecca smiled. Today, she had faced two very different battles and walked away victorious in both. As she got into her Tesla, she resolved that she wouldn't let one judge's bias deter her. Instead, she would continue to use her position, her voice, and her determination to fight for what was right, not just for herself but for everyone who deserved fairness in a flawed system. Little did she know, her calm defiance in Judge Stone's courtroom that morning would soon spark discussions among the staff and others present. It would prompt the clerk, Mrs. Alvarez, to draft a letter to the court's oversight committee, highlighting the need for a review of certain judges' conduct. Rebecca's stand wasn't just about her parking ticket. It was the beginning of a ripple effect that would challenge the unspoken norms of the courtroom and inspire others to demand better from those in power. Rebecca drove away from the courthouse with a mixture of relief and determination. She knew that while she had successfully handled her personal matter, the deeper issues exposed during the hearing couldn't be ignored. By the time she returned to her office, her boss had already sent her a follow-up email regarding the Langston case. She dove into her analysis, the meticulous work offering a welcome distraction from the morning's events. Yet, the courtroom exchange lingered in her mind, and she couldn't shake the feeling that she needed to do more.